Are all pizzas created equal? Not by a long shot. In our previous post, my wife Benedicta and I demonstrated that you can make a pizza which will barely raise your blood sugar. We did this using 2 low-carb tortilla shells as the foundation for the pizza. We tested ourselves before and 1 hour after eating one of these pizzas, and we saw wonderful results. Our blood sugar was raised a mere scrawny 15 points. Now in this video, you'll see the results of a second pizza test we did. This time we used a normal pizza shell such as you can buy in your grocery store. Otherwise, we made the pizza about the same way as we did the first one. But using the much thicker crust made a huge difference in our blood sugar scores 1 hour after our meal. Check this out.
The next night we had another pizza dinner. The ingredients were nearly the same, but this time we used a standard crust we bought in the grocery store. This wasn't exactly a thick crust, but compared to the tortilla shell pizza crust we had the previous evening, it was quite thick. We carved the crust into the same size as the tortilla shells, made the pizza the same way, and cooked it the same way. While the pizza baked, we tested our blood sugar. We brought the pizza out of the oven, and once again it looked like pizza, which it was. We enjoyed our dinner, although I felt a little guilty eating such a thick crust pizza. 1 hour after finishing our meal, we tested ourselves again. Then we sat down to discuss the results.
So, what do you think? You went up a little bit higher than last night. Last night you peaked out at 103, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this time you jumped up to
128.
128, so that's a 25-point rise. Now, 128 is still not bad. We're not talking about huge diabetic numbers. In fact, they're not diabetic numbers at all.
Okay,
Nevertheless,
that doesn't make me a diabetic?
No, it does not make you a diabetic.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
But it does show a stronger rise with the thicker crust pizza than with the thin. Now, almost all the other ingredients were the same. We had meat on the first, meat on the second. We had cheese on the first, cheese on the second. Everything was the same.
Yeah.
But your blood sugar rose significantly higher. But if you think hers rose higher, wait till you hear what mine turned out to be. Mine jumped up to 175. Now, last night it was at 118. This night it's at 175. Both nights I enjoyed very nice pizzas. Both nights I had most of the same ingredients. I had the meat, the cheese, mushrooms, black olives. Both nights drank a diet soda. Diet soda wouldn't have much of an effect. But tonight, the 175 was so much higher than last night. Who must be the culprit? If we have to assign blame to this high rise in blood sugar, who are we going to blame? Are we going to blame Mr. Mushroom?
No.
Are we going to blame Mr. Black Olive?
No.
Who are we going to blame?
We're going to blame Mr. White bread that, we made it with.
That's exactly right. We're going to blame the crust. The only real difference between last night and tonight was the crust. Last night we took 2 low-carb tortilla shells, about 10 grams total, and it didn't rise any higher than 118. It never even made it to 120. Tonight, same size pizza. We cut it in the same shape and the same size as last night. But tonight, that crust was about 4 times as thick. Yeah. And 4 times as thick means 4 times as many
carbs,
carbohydrates. That's the name of the game. And carbs, by any other name, are still going to raise your blood sugar. Some people only worry about the sweet things. I'll stay away from candy. I'll stay away from cake and pie, and I'll be a good boy or a good girl. But if you don't deal with things like bread and rice and starches and, yes, even fruits, you're never going to really conquer runaway blood sugar. You got to do more than that. Now, you're not a diabetic. 128 was still pretty decent.
Okay.
But you did learn that even you can have blood sugar rises if you eat certain foods.
I know. I just discovered that.
And we learned that for me, it's a whole lot worse. A 175 is not at all acceptable. It's actually terrible. And so I won't be doing that again unless it's for another experiment, but I hope I don't ever have to do another experiment like this. But I wanted to show you the difference between the thin crust and the thick crust. And I knew it would happen like this. At least I was quite confident it would, because I've tested myself enough and I know what raises my blood sugar and what doesn't. You know what? When I first started out in having runaway blood sugar and dealing with blood sugar issues, I didn't have a clue what raised. If someone said, well, how about nuts? Do they raise your blood sugar? What about bread? What about this? What about that? I didn't know anything.
Okay.
But I read, I researched, and I tested myself again and again and again. And I found out certain things raise it, other things don't. If I had had a great big hamburger patty all by itself, you think I would have got a 175?
No.
No, I wouldn't. It wouldn't have raised hardly at all. And I could have got just as full. Now, that's not to say you eat hamburger all the time, but nevertheless, some foods are safe, some are iffy, and some are just downright dangerous. And thick crust pizza is just not a safe food. So there is a way to do it. We learned that last night, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
There is a way to enjoy pizza, but you have to be a little creative and be willing to sacrifice a little of the taste. I have to admit, if I had my choice, I'd probably go for the thick crust pizza.
Yes.
I really enjoy that a little bit better. But I enjoyed last night as well. It was still good. And it kept my blood sugar levels down in the normal range.
The facts and the figures do not lie. The more carbs you ingest, the higher your blood sugar soars. This simple truth, when you really get it, can set you on the road to freedom from diabetes and its terrible complications. If you appreciated this video, give it a thumbs up. That way YouTube will rank it higher in their search engine and more people will be able to see it. And I hope you'll subscribe to this Beat Diabetes YouTube channel so you can be notified when we post new videos. Well, that's it for now. God bless, and see you again soon.